Hey, welcome back, guys. Of all the deaths throughout Power's morbid history, none proved sadder than Raina St. Patrick's. An innocent at the time of her demise, Raina's fall served as a warning to her father's demon-driven life, a warning that would precede the inevitable destruction that claimed it just 2 seasons later. She represented the standalone virtue of the St. Patrick family, the only one who was unscathed by criminality, as Tariq would fall victim to the evils of the game via Kanan, and their parents were well into their criminally induced paths long before their conception. After being slain by that fateful bullet, her family disintegrated, plunging into an unrecognizable version of their old lives that eventually splintered altogether. Such destruction would leave Tasha and Yaz in witness protection, Tariq in school with more dirt than ever on his family name, and the ghost man dead by his son's hands. These tragedies were the penance paid by the family for the blood of its sole innocent. But what if things were different? What if Raina survived her brush with death? And how would things have panned out for her and her family as a result? We'll dive into just that in part 3 to our What If series, Raina edition. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and bell notification to immediately receive these videos. Also, big thank you to all of my channel donors. If you'd like to be the next one, drop $1 on that Cash App for us. And lastly, a spoiler alert is now in effect for all things Power. Here we go. Let's take it from the top. Things play out the same up to the point where Raina stands up to Ray Ray and is shot down due to her defiance. Instead of having her life forever extinguished, Raina awakens to the sight of her loving family, guilt-ridden from the events that placed her there. During her recovery, Ghost sits the family down and lays out the truth for his children to question, refute, and ultimately absorb, along with Tasha, of course. By laying the truth on his children, it accomplishes 2 goals. For one, it reels in a fleeting Tariq, who had been filled with resentment and contempt for his father for not fully being honest with him about his life and the game at large. And most importantly, it sets up the family to be structured in the image of the various Italian criminal enterprises that preceded them. This is something I've touched on here throughout my YouTube career, and just might have saved Ghost's life and family had he adhered to his true nature. Ghost's method in doing this was to regain his family's trust, while using his remaining criminal ties to ultimately escape the life through legitimacy, an aim he never lost sight of. I place this caveat here because it'll be important in our reimagining in due time. But back to Raina. With any lingering feelings of discontent and distrust assuaged by her parents' transparency, Raina continues her studies, while her brother falls further into the criminal side of things, much to his father's chagrin initially. Observing her father's wishes to have a scholar in his bloodline, Raina decides to go all the way with her education, aspiring to the legal side of things to assist her family in any hiccups that could arise in the near future. With a lawyer in the family, the St. Patricks would be more formidable as a unit, and Ghost would be further acknowledged as the mastermind behind it all, something his ego would demand. What makes a spin like this interesting is that they're now alluding to this path with Tariq. McLean plainly stated to Little Ghost in the finale of season 2 that, quote, "You might make a decent lawyer someday, kid," to which Tariq replied, "You know there's no such thing as a decent lawyer." The issue of decency would be something that Raina would have to wrestle with in her given field, because although she'd maintain her life, it would inevitably come at the expense of her decency. How she'd rationalize such a fate would be interesting to see. However, one thing would continue to inspire her efforts would be family loyalty, something her brother wouldn't be able to hold on to. Getting heavier in the game despite his father's objections, Tariq would redevelop a similar animosity towards his family, though not fueled by the same things we saw in the original series. In this reimagining, instead of being swayed by mistrust, Tariq would be swayed by jealousy and greed. Although he loved his sister, he began to grow weary of his father's favoritism of her, and contrasting resentment towards him. Raina was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in her father's eyes, while Tariq was viewed as the black sheep, the stain on his family's legacy, the outcast, the Cain to Raina's Abel, marked by the sin his father detested the most and wanted to eventually uproot his family from. These feelings would push him closer to Kanan, the one who introduced him to the game in the first place. As a result, Ghost would oust Tariq from the family, unable to risk the future of his flock on such a malcontent. The savagery that defined Ghost's character by season 6 aided him in such a harsh decision. He had already found his star prodigy, and if Tariq wanted to make other choices, he'd make them outside the confines of his collective. Hurt by his father's castigations, Tariq would patiently wait for the perfect moment to seek revenge on his father. At gunpoint, he threatens his forebear for choosing sides with his seeds, and almost fatally wounds him. However, in this reimagining, Tasha successfully intervenes to save the lives of her son, husband, and overall family. After conferring with the furious Ghost, Tariq would be given a place within the family's organization, something not fully legitimate, but an opportunity to flourish nevertheless under the tutelage of Tasha, the parent he was closest with all along. He would hash out his feelings with Raina, and the two would reconcile, her promising to get him out of any legal jams he may find himself in going forward. With Tariq moving clandestinely in the underworld and Raina's upheaval in the legitimate world, the St. Patricks were primed to take on any and all opposers from a position of power, no pun intended, similar to the likes of the Sopranos or the Flynns to keep things closer to the Powerverse. But what are your thoughts on all of this? How do you think the St. Patrick family would have ended up had Raina survived? Be sure to drop me your opinions in the comments below. As always, I thank you for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, go ahead and drop $1 on that Cash App for us, hit the like button, share it with your friends who are Power fans, and subscribe for more content such as this. This is Rudy P. Magic of Rudy P. Magic Beats, and have a blessed one until the next one. Peace, y'all.